Hello coolers, welcome back to the channel guys for a post-match video once again, because Barça has returned from the international break with a thumping win against Sevilla at the Montjuic. Sevilla have failed to win away at Barcelona since 2002. They haven't won an away game at Barcelona since 2002, and that trend has continued on Sunday night because we have dismantled Sevilla 5-1 at the Montjuic once again with 2 goals from Robert Lewandowski, another goal from Pedri, and then a brace from substitute Pablo Torre to see Barca reclaim top spot in La Liga following Real Madrid's victory at Balaidos on Saturday night against Celta Vigo. And it was yet another impressive performance from Flick's team, and we shall be discussing some of the major talking points from this game on Sunday night. But first of all, let's discuss the lineup and the matchday squad, because for a change, we saw a Barca team returning from the international break with injured players returning to the squad, as against having players missing from the squad through injury, because of course we saw the fact that Dani Olmo was back in the squad. He was on the bench for the game on Sunday against Sevilla, and also Fermín Lopez, after a while out with an injury which he sustained during the last international break before the just concluded one, he also made his recovery and he was in the matchday squad. But the headline name in the matchday squad was definitely the appearance of Gavi. After 345 days, that is almost a whole year out after tearing his ACL for Spain, he was back in action for Barca, and you could see the ovation that the home crowd gave him when he came on for Pedri late in the game. You could tell that the fans were excited. They were pumped up to have Gavi, our little warrior, is back. He is fit again and he's available for Hansi Flick, and we are hoping that the injury problems will stay far away from Gavi this time around. But back to the starting lineup, it was a first start of the season for Ansu Fati, because of course initially Eric Garcia was named in the starting lineup, starting in midfield alongside Marc Casado, but unfortunately it seemed like Eric picked up a knock in the pre-match warm-up and he had to be replaced, and Ansu Fati was given his first start of the season. Elsewhere, we saw Iñaki Peña retain his place in goal. We've heard Hansi Flick speak a lot about the goalkeeping situation after the signing of Szczesny was confirmed. He said that there is no reason for a change at this point and he is going to stick with Iñaki Peña, and he stuck to his words. He kept faith in Iñaki Peña, and to be honest, Peña didn't really have a lot to do, but it was a decent game from him. He conceded a goal late in the game, but overall it wasn't a goal that he could have actually saved, so you can't really fault him for the goal he conceded. But elsewhere on the pitch, it was pretty much the lineup that we as Barca fans were expecting to see, because Koundé once again was at right back. The defensive partnership of Inigo Martinez and Pau Kubasi continued at centre half, and Balde came back at left back. In midfield, it was Pedri and Marc Casado as the double pivot. Lamine Yamal surprisingly had a start. Of course, much was made during the past week about his injury problems and his injury worries with Spain, but it seems like all is well with Lamine Yamal, because he started on the right wing for Barca once again, with Rafinha playing in the number 10 role and Ansu Fati starting on the left. Of course, Robert Lewandowski completed the 11 starting as the number 9, but it was yet another impressive performance from Flick's team, because it was really important to win on Sunday. Following Madrid's victory on Saturday, Barca had no choice but to win on Sunday, and they did it in style, thumping Sevilla 5-1 at the Montjuic to maintain their lead at the top of the table. Mind you, next weekend and this whole week is going to be pivotal for Barca, because after a daunting Champions League game against Bayern Munich in midweek, Barca would be going to the first Clasico of the season, just 3 points ahead of Real Madrid, as we visit the Santiago Bernabeu on Saturday night. But speaking about tonight's win against Sevilla, some of the standout performances, once again, we have to mention Robert Lewandowski, guys, because it is no secret that right now Lewandowski is well and truly back. He is playing at the level that he used to operate while playing for Bayern Munich, because we know that Hansi Flick has a magic wand when it comes to Robert Lewandowski. He knows how to get the best out of the man, and boy has he been on fire this season. Lewandowski has been rolling back the years. Right now he is the top goal scorer in La Liga with 12 goals, and that is double the number of goals of his closest challenger for the Pichichi, because Kylian Mbappe of Real Madrid is next on that list with 6 goals. Lewandowski on 12 goals, Mbappe on 6 goals. That is double the goals that Mbappe has scored for Madrid in La Liga this season. So Lewandowski, at the old ripe age of 36, is still firing on all cylinders for Barca. It now seems like the criticism and the way that we wrote him off after last season where he struggled, I think he was a bit premature, because right now Lewandowski has made all his haters and his critics to eat their words. That is 14 goals in all competitions for the season so far, 12 goals in La Liga, and he has scored 7 goals in his last 9 games for Barca. Lewandowski is on fire, and the Polish striker may just be a top contender for the La Liga Player of the Month for October, because following Rafinha's win in August, we saw before kickoff that Lamine Yamal was handed his award as the best player of the league for the month of September. Barca may just complete a treble in that regard with the performance that Lewandowski is putting in once again, because following the hat-trick he got at Alaves just before the international break, he has continued where he left off with yet another brace to see Barca with 3 points yet again, and it was an immaculate performance. Also, credit to Jules Koundé, because he played another great game at the right back. Of course, we know it's not his favorite position, but right now I think it has come to a point whereby everybody has low-key accepted the fact that Koundé could just be about one of the best right backs in Europe at the moment, and he continues to prove his case week in, week out, game in, game out, and he continues to deliver good performances for Barca. Tonight, it was his 100th appearance for Barca, and incidentally, it came against the very team that he left to join Barca in 2022 against Sevilla. He used to be a Sevilla player, and he made his 100th Barca appearance against the team he departed for Catalonia. And congratulations to the Frenchman. It doesn't seem like 100 is going to be a number where he's going to stop, because with the way he's performing and the age he is at, Koundé is going to play a lot more games for Barca, and it seems like his importance within the team continues to grow with each passing game. But I also want to give a special shout out once again to Lamine Yamal. It wasn't one of those days where he was the protagonist of Barca's performance, but he had a very decent game. He was spectacular. It was the kind of performance that made the fans to jump off of their seats, because he left them mesmerized. A lot of times, he had yet another assist in La Liga, laying off the ball for Pedri to score Barca's second from a breathtaking counter-attack. And we can see some of the elements that Hansi Flick has brought to Barca, guys. Barca is unpredictable right now. Barca are very, very far from the dull and predictable team that we used to witness during the latter days of the Xavi era. No disrespect to the club legend, but Flick's Barca seem to be operating on another level right now, and it seems like the teams in Spain and La Liga, they cannot cope with what the German has brought. Lamine Yamal, it was yet another brilliant performance. He didn't score tonight. He had some good chances to score, but unfortunately, he didn't score. I think Lamine Yamal is beginning to give me these vibes of Messi, whereby there are games where he doesn't really score, but his performance leaves you wowed. And then you just have to appreciate the fact that there is more to some of these special players than just the goal scoring side of things. But it was yet another good performance from Lamine Yamal. But how about Rafinha? The guy continues to impress this season after a very productive international break where he scored 2 goals for Brazil. That makes it 8 goals for the season so far for club and country. He was back where he left off for Barca just before the international break. He continued his impressive form. It was yet another game where Rafinha was a menace for the opposition. He played in the number 10 role, and he was the creative force behind Barca's beautiful football on the night. He had yet another assist, laying up the 3rd goal for Lewandowski, and Barca went into halftime leading 3-0. Barca are just rolling over teams in La Liga at this point. And you could say so for the Champions League as well, because in the last game against Young Boys, we also thrashed them 5-0. Oh, I know we lost against Monaco, but we had a red card, so you could forgive us for giving up the excuse that we were down to 10 men and that contributed. But of course, the major test is going to be on Wednesday when we welcome Bayern Munich to the Montjuic for yet another mouth-watering Champions League tie between the two sides. And to be honest, I'm actually confident, or let's say I'm excited to see which version of Barca is going to turn up against Bayern this time around. But I can't finish this video without talking about the tactics of Hansi Flick, because the highlight that we have been seeing, guys, in the first few games of the season, I was made to believe that it was an accident of some sort. But with the pattern that we have been seeing in the games that have followed since then, it is clear to see that there is a clear plan in place. Barca have been playing on the front foot for all their games this season, and Barca have been playing a ridiculously high defensive line, which has been masterfully executed by Inigo Martinez and Pau Kubasi. In fact, whenever Inigo Martinez is on the pitch, Barca's high line and defensive organization is top-notch. And we've seen that in a lot of games this season, whereby the opponents either have a goal disallowed due to the fact that when the VAR checks, or when you just pay close attention, you will see that the attacking player was just offside. And Barca have made this a habit. It continued against Sevilla on Sunday once again, because first of all, there was an incident in the second half at 3-0 where Isaac Romero broke behind the Barca defense. Of course, he beat Pau Kubasi, but Barca were saved by the offside call because Kubasi fouled Isaac Romero, and it was a stonewall penalty which the referee duly gave. But following the intervention of VAR, it was clear that Isaac Romero had just strayed offside. And there was yet another incident where Luka Bacchio thought he had pulled a goal back for Sevilla. But once again, Barca executed the high line and the offside trap expertly, and the goal was chalked up for yet another offside call. Very, very close calls, but Barca seemed to be getting it right. But then, on the one occasion where Barca failed to get it right, that was when Sevilla pounced, and Sevilla were able to pull a goal back at 4-0 to make it 4-1 before Barca scored again through a Pablo Torre free kick. But on that one occasion, Sevilla actually beat that offside trap, left the guy one-on-one with Iñaki Peña, and to be honest, there was really not much Iñaki Peña could have done to save the ball. But for once, Barca's offside trap was breached successfully by the opposition. And why I'm taking my time to talk about this whole offside scenario is because this week that we are entering is a crunch week for Barca, both in the Champions League and in the league, because we are facing Bayern Munich once again in the Champions. We know Bayern Munich has been our bogey team. No shame in that, of course. I would like a better record against the German guys, but the reality is that right now they have been our bogey team in Europe in the last few years, guys. And it is something that Barca really needs to rewrite, because, of course, I'm confident with the way we've been performing this season. I believe we may shock our doubters during the game in midweek, but that's left to be seen. But with the way that Barca are executing this high line, heading into games against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in El Clasico, Barca has to be at their absolute best, because these are teams with a lot of quality, teams with fast players, teams with quality that can punish you when you make little mistakes, or when you make the tiniest mistakes, and when you fail to pay attention to the tiniest details, guys. Hansi Flick has to drill it into the boys, because it is a high risk, high reward tactics. But let's not forget the high risk aspect of it, because heading into games against Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, Barca have to be very, very attentive to the situations around them. But overall, it has been an immaculate start to the season. Lewandowski is firing. The whole team is firing. Congratulations to Lewandowski. Right now, he is the outright third all-time goal scorer in all of Europe's top 5 leagues, following in the footsteps of, or following behind Messi and Ronaldo, of course, the two beasts that we have come to see in this era of football. Messi with 496 goals in Europe's top 5 leagues, Ronaldo closely behind with 495 goals in Europe top 5 leagues, and Lewandowski is in third place with 366 goals, spanning spells across Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, and now Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski is a legend of this era, guys. Make no mistake about it, Robert Lewandowski is a legend of this era, and he has continued to write his story this time around wearing the Barca colors. On Wednesday is going to be a reunion for Lewandowski and Hansi Flick. Remember, they used to work with Bayern Munich, and they shall be facing their former employers when we welcome them to the Montjuic in the Champions League on Wednesday night. But after then, it continues this pivotal run of games that we had. Of course, we have started well, beating Sevilla tonight, but the game against Bayern is going to be followed by El Clasico. And we need no introduction to the fact that that game is the biggest game in the club football calendar, and Barca would be traveling to the Santiago Bernabeu to face their closest and their biggest rivals for the La Liga title, Real Madrid. And if Barca needed any extra motivation for this one, then let's not look past the fact that Real Madrid are just 3 points behind us in the La Liga table, and knowing Los Blancos, they would definitely be looking to snatch a victory against us to move level on points and possibly to the top of the table. But that will not be the only motivation for them, because they have had a quite impressive run, I must admit, because they have been on a 42-game unbeaten run in La Liga. Their last defeat came last year or so against Atletico de Madrid when they lost 3-1 at the Metropolitano. But the record in Spain as well is 43 unbeaten games, which is held by Barca. So you see what I'm saying here, guys. Madrid are on an incredible 42-game unbeaten run, and their next game is Barca at the Bernabeu. Barca are the record holders for the longest unbeaten run in the history of La Liga with 43 games. So Madrid has the chance to equal Barca's record in the Clasico by avoiding defeat. But now, that is where Barca come in, because we also have the chance to extend and maintain our unbeaten record as the only team with a 43-game unbeaten run in La Liga. But also, we also have the opportunity to maintain our lead at the top of the table with the visit to the Bernabeu on Saturday. That will be all for me, guys. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. What do you make of the impressive win tonight against Sevilla, and what are your opinions and what are your predictions or expectations for the two gigantic games that Barca have coming in the next week? First of all, against Bayern Munich, and also the Clasico against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, guys. And I will definitely be here to cover those games when they are played. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça. Adios.